And we're back. Jason and I are here for another week of fun. Welcome back, everybody, to SharkNation episode 35. We're going to talk about sitting on the sidelines. Sitting on the sidelines. Jason, you sitting on the sidelines, man?
All the time, man. Just watching the wind. What's the old John Lennon? Watching the wheels fly by. That's outside your age range. You probably don't know who he is.
No, I know who John Lennon is. Come on.
I'm just
Not
busting
that.
you.
I'm cultured.
I'm age discriminating you.
It's all good, man. It's all good.
No. Why would you want to be on the sidelines, man? You got to get in your game. You know, I have a talk all the time, and we kind of put things in buckets, right? You have your pre-onboarding stuff, kind of getting your license, all that kind of stuff squared away with the state. You have your boot camp stuff, learning like the systems and processes and all that kind of stuff. And then we have practice, right? Practice, like Allen Iverson always says, right? We talk about practice, but everything that you're not doing before you have a deal, right? And then once you get something under contract, now you're in the game, right? So taking that full circle, it's like if you don't have any kind of deals right now, right, you should be practicing. Think of a professional athlete. What are they doing every week? They're going to practice, right? Learning the fundamentals, being ready, watching game film from previous games to get better and see where things could be improved and improve on that. And then when the game's on Sunday, they're ready, right? So it's all just a matter of like you said, getting into the game, getting off the sidelines, and taking some action.
Yeah, I'm a struggle with the practice side of it though, because I mean, I don't know, people's schedules are different, but in my opinion, like for our team, for example, 10 to 12 Monday through Friday is the game. And, there's not, it's like they, take two shots.
Yeah.
And I mean, any sport or it's going to take a lot more than two shots to, get a touchdown, to score a goal, to make make it in the hoop, whatever, is to hit a ball. Like it's going to take more than two swings. You know what I mean? And, and I think that's, so it's like like I'd rather see shots being taken than even practice. I mean, I practice because like, it's all right. Review game tape. Well, there's not enough game tape to review. Would almost, and forget the team. It's almost all agents I've interacted with, And then anytime my business has slacked, there wasn't enough game tape to review in the last month or two.
Yeah,
that's why it slacked. So it's
yeah, for sure. You have to have some at bats, right? To get comfortable and get that film. One of the biggest things that I saw that's been kind of a needle mover for some of the team members on the team is re-listening to their conversations.
Yes.
You don't realize how much you miss by because you're focused on trying to ask your next question or get your agenda out or whatever, and people are telling you what they want, and you're too busy trying to tell them your side of things, and and reviewing that game tape, it's like, oh damn, I missed that, and then you could go back and kind of learn for the next one.
There's, you look at social media, everybody's on it, even the people, oh, I don't use Facebook. They probably could tell you
all bastards like me.
Well, yeah, I have friends. I don't use Facebook. Meanwhile, they know every post I've posted. Oh, you don't use Facebook yet? Yeah, you're sitting there scrolling on the damn thing. You're full of shit. You're just more scared to share than I am. That's the only difference.
Steve on my team's like that. He is not big into the social media stuff, and but he's like, yep, watch all your shows and see the stuff. So he's watching now, saying, don't bring me up.
Well,
he's gonna give me shit.
There's voyeurism. That's like that's what, like, I know that's a it's a weird word to use, but it's like that's
don't Google it, ladies and gentlemen.
It's what social media is built on. Like it's what, like, the people, we go there to watch others' lives, and but here's the thing: is a lot of people end up watching and not doing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I could do that too, or I'm better than them. Okay, cool. What have you done? And I'm not perfect. I do the same thing at times, I'm not like, I
Mhm.
know I take some more action than maybe the average, but like there's always somebody doing more than you, and there's some people I'm watching, man, I could do that. I'm better than them, but they're doing
Well,
more than me.
that's why reality TV is probably like the number one programming in the world for how many years in a row, right? People like to have that kind of like inside look at what people are doing, and you know, seeing the progress, or watching the, kind of like the hero's journey, right? Seeing how they're starting from this and getting to that, right? Um, but you know,
How do you get somebody off the sidelines and off that and into the game? How do
so
you as a person, I should say, not how do you get someone, right?
yeah, so differences, right? With getting in the game and being on the sideline, it's like, who do you want to become? Is that something that you want to do? Is that something that you see yourself doing and you just want to watch it from afar because you're too scared, nervous, maybe not have the training, might not have the knowledge to do that? Or maybe you just have that fear. I don't think I could do that. Oh, I could never do that. Or I can't talk like that. Or I don't look like that. Or I don't sound like that. I always joke around. I got a face for radio, but you got to kind of overcome your limiting beliefs and get after it when it's time to make it happen, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's just, I don't, I struggle with this one because I think I'm I don't know that I figured it out because I'm a pretty decent action taker. But if I look back, though, if I look back, I mean, I always tell the story where I quit college because of public speaking, and now, I mean, and this is a form of it, and it's just crazy the journey I've gone on. But it's been just small actions one step at a time. Like, you might watch someone doing, the end result that you're looking for, and I know you hear this all the time, but I can't stress enough how you got to break it down. Like, are you just taking one step in that direction forward at a time? You know? Um, and I think, like, I mean, you look at this stuff here, what we're doing, and posting content, and like how comfortable I've become on the camera. And go back and maybe don't. I don't want you to. It's there. It's the power of the
Some
internet.
old black
Go
and white
back.
videos,
No, they're
the
not black
old
and white.
band tapes, banging the
They're just
drums.
bad. They're just bad.
Yeah. Well,
Little extra weight, little, you know,
but
unsure of myself.
I think the key of what you're saying is, if you want to do anything, it's like, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time, right? So if you have a goal, say, for our show's sake, like becoming a real estate agent, and you're not really sure what to do, let's break that down into manageable steps. Okay, the first thing I need to do is kind of, okay, figure out what's required to be an agent. Okay, in Pennsylvania, you have to have your real estate license to practice real estate, right? So that should be number one. Okay, if I break that down to more manageable steps, okay, you know, uh, where do I go to find the class? Is there an in-person one or online? What's my schedule like now, and where would that fit in? Okay, well, I work 9 to 5. There's classes that usually start 6 to 9, Mondays and Thursdays, if you want to take it locally. Or, I have kids, I'm busy, I can't do it, but I could kind of squeeze it in between things. There's an online class, it's on demand. So you can kind of learn at your own pace and kind of break down your schedule. And it's like, okay, once I'm done with the course, then what? Okay, then I got to prepare for the exam. If you're not sure how to prepare for the exam, we have study guides, or there's stuff online where you can kind of get the questioning and all that, because the course is going to prepare you for the exam. The exam, once you're done with that and you pass that, then you got to get licensed with the brokerage. So it's always just kind of taking that next actionable step. Break what you want to do, anything in life. You want to run a marathon. Okay, break that down into small steps. Okay, well, I haven't ran yet. Maybe I need to just start walking, get a couple miles in. Then maybe I'm going to jog a quarter of a mile. Now I'm going to jog a half a mile. Now I'm going to jog a mile. Now I'm going to jog 2. And then eventually, as you build these up and you take these incremental steps, you're going to run that marathon.
Exactly. Small steps. Yeah, it's the looking at the mountain, and where you want to be. You just got to put one foot in front of the other. That's huge. But then I also want to bring in. I love when Hermosi would talk about negative thinking. look at where you want to be and the person you're looking at, or whatever, you're watching on social, or whatever you're hoping to be, and whatever, that you're sitting on the sidelines watching somebody else make the shots that you're not making or taking. Think about it. We're so easy to think negatively, the problems. And I love when Hermosi does this.
I can never do that. Well, it must be nice because you're blah, blah, blah.
Well, no. Yes. I mean, yes, that's what we think, but use that to your advantage. That we all naturally think negatively. So use that to your advantage. And this is from him, but it's, look at what that vision is, what you're watching and that you want to do, that you're sitting on the sidelines of, and go, well, what would I do to not do that?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I would not make phone calls. I would not generate leads. I would not set time aside from my day when I'm busy with the kids or this or that to focus on real estate. And instead of, like waiting for it to come for me, I would not wait for it to come for me. I would attack, right? Like I would not do, like, think negatively, think like, how would I screw that up? Like if I want to be a successful real estate agent, what were the things that I would do that would screw it up? Like not spend time prospecting, all these things I just listed. So I think if you can list those things out, like, well, like what would a failure look like? And list those things, and then don't like do the opposite of those things. It's such a simple. That's why I love Hermosi's stuff, because it's just so simple.
Yeah, it's an awesome concept. Like you said, kind of working your way backwards like that. But so many times that we see, people kind of, I just did a post on this too, so it's like hitting home here. But it's like so many times we see, that goal or whatever, and it's not fear of failure. I think it's fear of success, right? What happens if I do pass that class and now I actually have to do this stuff? I think, what happens then, right? Do I have what it takes? I might have what it takes to pass the exam, but do I have what it takes to actually do the work to become, $1 million agent or whatever you kind of see on TV or whatever, or HGTV. So many times I think people don't want to take that next step, because now it's like, okay, now prove it. And it's like, that's where people, kind of clam up.
Because it's
fear
unknown.
of success.
Because it ultimately becomes the fear of an unknown. They stay in what's known. And I'm definitely, I think, like, I have a bit of an OCD problem, as probably we all do, but mine, with systems and processes, I'm really, really, really bad with it. And for years, I think about like where the team came up, and at times they had really, really good systems, and at times they've fallen apart. And I look back at whenever, like I've had a chance to reflect back, because we kind of started from scratch again. And I'm like, it was never the perfect system that mattered. That was never what it is. Like, even when I had perfect systems, yeah, they might have lessened the load here and there, but it really didn't move the needle that much. So like coming back when I had a restart, I'm like, I don't even care. I don't care what system. We might be in a different system in 6 months or a year. Like, I just don't care. We're just going to take action. But what all right, cool. So you hear that literally, but what that is I became comfortable with the fact that I have no clue what it's going to look like. I have no clue what it's going to look like at 10, at 20 agents, at a 40. I just don't care. I'm just good that, like, because it's not, so you have to be comfortable with, like you said, fear of what you'll become is it's unknown, and you'll never know it. And when they say get comfortable with being uncomfortable, that's exactly what they're talking about.
Yeah, and
whoever they
to touch on that, which is super big, and we're big on this, where it's head down, no shiny objects. And I know my contractors are like back and forth today, so yeah. Hey, look, I need to get this kitchen done before I get divorced. So sometimes you gotta adapt, Chad. You gotta adapt in life. But no, circling back. So the shirt, head down, no shiny objects. So many times in life, what do? We look at the result, and we just want the result. But if we just focus on what could you control today to move the needle, simple daily activities compounded over time are going to get you that result. So many times we're so focused on, the goal that we forget the journey, right? And sitting there and, embracing the suck, as Chepak always says, like eating rocks, doing the stuff that, And I talk about this all the time. Like, if you feel that little butterfly in your stomach, that should be your body indicating that's what you should be doing. And just keep doing consistently what you know you need to do every single day, what you can control. And if you do what you can control, the results will come in time. But in this game, as a real estate agent, it's a long game, man. Cash deal, you're looking at 30 days out to get paid. Anything with the loan, 45 to 60. If it doesn't close, you don't get paid, right? There's the roller coaster ebbs and flows of this business. And a lot of people are like, oh I don't have how do you have consistently 6 deals under contract? None of this. I don't focus on the results. I focus on who I can contact every single day, and I contact them. And then the results come from that simple daily activity.
Right. So I've recently fired. I haven't been in production much over the last 4 years, and then this year decided to fire it up to lead by example on a bit of a restart for those who've followed along or haven't. There you go. Let's set the stage, and to transparently there, like, I've got a pipeline right now where there's probably about 3 or 4 imminent people, and probably about 5 to 10 more sitting on the sidelines, right? That are coming, but they're just not ready yet or whatever. And it's just it's not about forcing them to buy. It's just where they're at, But here's the thing, like, today, there are things to move those people along that are imminent. There are things to do to nurture the ones who are close. That comes after noon.
Yeah. And like you said, if you're worried about one buyer or one seller giving you, issues, or they're not ready yet, okay, that's them. They might not be ready yet, and that's okay. But what you don't have? It's not a buyer. It's not your buyer or your seller. You have a lead generation problem. Because if you had more people to work with, then these people would just naturally be in your pipeline. And when they are ready, you'll be there for them. And you'll be working with other people along the way and getting them going. And that's why it's called a sales cycle, right? But so many people are like, oh, this guy, I showed him all these houses. Look, it's not the one. We'll find you when when that's the one. They'll let you know that's the one. But if you're worried about them buying and you need that, you're going to come off as pushy. You're going to come off with that sales breath, and you're not there supporting and servicing the client. And we're here to help.
That's the biggest lever. Like, the bigger, so not lever. That's the biggest difference between people I see that succeed in this business and don't. And I'm like, I know you can't see like what I'm in, like what I've experienced in my life, but I literally have having flashes of agents who didn't do well or are out of the business, and agents who are crushing it or like just on top, the best. And I'm telling you, the conversations with the ones that do a little or fail are the result. Oh, this buyer isn't ready, or this person, and 100% care about the person, but the person that succeeds doesn't attach to the outcome and just goes conversation, just more and more, not in a, and it's like not in a heartless way. It's just, this person isn't ready. Okay, no big deal. Let me go talk to some other people and find some that are. I still got you. I got you here. I got you right there. When it's time, let's go.
Yeah.
And let's go find.
Yeah. So, real life analogy with this. Our friend who's on the show, Ryan TC. He was, kind of had some things going on with some investment properties and all that kind of stuff, and he realized that, he didn't have the deal flow going with the way he normally has it. He's a top icon producing agent, and he noticed, hey, look I only have X amount of business for the next couple of months. What did he do? He got on the phone, right? And started going through all his, prospects and all that kind of stuff, and calling as many people as he can. And what naturally happened is his business increased. Right. So it's predictable. A lot of times people think that it's a sales commission-based business is non-predictable, but you can predict it if you stick to the process.
Here's the thing. Most of us that are listening to this or whatever probably had a job before and probably applied for jobs.
Did you ever get canned? Did you ever get fired from a job? Like when you were interviewing, not get it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. AT&T busted me. I thought I had that one, man. I don't. I'm still butthurt about that one, but
I'm not a fan of AT&T, so fuck them. No,
I'm not
I
either.
I had one
Things happen
too.
for a reason.
Dude, I had one when I was like super young. I had to drive like an hour for it, and I didn't realize this was like before like Google Maps and stuff. So I thought it was closer than it was, and I was late for the interview, and you could just see it on their faces, man. I totally botched it or whatever, and then I'm like, "Well, do I got it?" They're like, "No."
Yeah, actually, now that I think about it, no, I'm telling that story wrong. So, like, I did miss one that I interviewed at the store, but then I might have applied again, I think, and then I went to the corporate office in Pittsburgh at the time, or the whatever that one was, the bigger.
Yeah.
It wasn't like the little store I was applying at. I'm pretty sure I went there, and I was all nervous about it. 45 minutes. I was younger, and 45 minutes drive, and I got there, and I was just like, I don't want this. This is not the life I want. I don't want this. I just didn't go.
You didn't go in?
No, I'm pretty sure I just was like, nope, this is too stressful.
Corporate world wasn't for you.
I don't know. I don't know what that even is relevant here, but I'm just.
Well, no, I think it's relevant, and I'll tie it back in, right? So being on the sidelines, right? You had a fear of whatever it was, and you kind of just didn't go through with that. Same thing with me. It was like learning from the mistakes that I did, and then the biggest break I had was when I got my job with Canon. I had to drive 2 hours to Philadelphia for the interview and all that kind of stuff, but I learned from my mistakes, got there early, got all that kind of stuff. If I can crush the interview, and the rest is history, But if I just stayed on the sideline, they just didn't like me because of this. It's like, no, they didn't like me because, for one, I was unprepared. For two, I was late and didn't show that and I was applying for a role where I was going to be like a project manager. It's like, who wants a project manager that's not on time, not follows directions, is unprepared?
Yeah.
Right? Nobody. Right? And then, just kind of reflecting on that. So even if you're on the sidelines now and you're still kind of getting that courage up to take action, learn from what you did in the past. Don't use any failure as just a failure. Use it as a lesson where you can learn from it and grow. Like you said, we talked about, some of the stuff that you did with the software company and it didn't work or whatever, but you learned ABC skills that you could take now and use it moving forward. Is it a failure? No. Did it not work out? Yeah. But did you learn from that and move on? Now you can take those skills and apply them somewhere else.
It's true. So I had a realization when we went there, because then there's 2 points I want to make here, but the one I want to make is coming back to where I skipped the interview and I just said, nah, no. And things worked out pretty well for me. I mean, I like real estate. I'm happy it worked the way it was, but actually, you want to go deeper if you want to be real. I didn't like not having control
over your schedule, your income, all that kind of stuff. The whole
at the mercy of some boss's decision on if I'm good or not, and and I'm not saying that's not like, maybe that I'm not saying it's just, this was me. For me, it's like, I want control over it, and I'm not saying you have to get into real estate just because you want control. But for me, when you think about it, if I play it back, I mean, this is 10 to 15 years ago, but when I play it back, I wanted control. So that's what attracted me to real estate, was the control aspect. And that's what I got. And there's negatives to having 100% control of everything, too. And I've found those out. And it's probably why there's
what you wish for.
Yeah, that's why there's a high failure rate. But here was the thing: was I knew other people weren't betting on me because maybe I didn't know how, instead of just better presenting myself or figuring it out, I was just like, I just want to go find something where I can bet on me. And I did, and it was a good bet and it paid off. And that's what it was. Like, doesn't mean that this is somebody else's path. I'm just breaking down that's now that I think back, I didn't like that I didn't have control and that somebody else was going to decide my future. I was like, no, give me the vessel and let's see what happens. Let's see what happens.
And no, that's so good. And I just had this conversation with my son. He's going to college and he's not really sure of what he wants to do or go for. And I go, that's great. He's like, what do you mean? I go, well, now you can figure out what you don't want to do, because you're going to be taking a bunch of different classes, accounting, finance, math, history, all that kind of stuff. Don't use that. Use each one as a learning lesson. Do I like this? Do I feel a passion for this? No, I hate it. Like for me, I sucked at chemistry. I fucking bombed it once. I think I barely passed with like a D just to get by or whatever. But I was like, that wasn't for me. And you know what? At the end of the day, that was a great thing because I knew what I didn't like, and I could focus on the things that I did like. Oh, I kind of have a passion for computers. I kind of have a passion for customer service and business, right? Okay, so these classes I could take, and then that kind of could steer your direction in life instead of just saying, "Oh, I suck at this. I'll never be good at anything. This is the worst thing ever. I'm an idiot."
And you only know that by taking action.
Yeah. Like I said, go ahead.
It's the other point I wanted to make. The whole point I was going into and why I got into applying for jobs is if you need a job or if you're searching for a job, are you going to fill out one application or a lot? You're going to fill out a lot of applications.
Here's the thing with applications too, because I was in that boat, and if I had to do it all over again, dude, apply for stuff that you think you might not be qualified for yet, but might have the skill set to learn and develop into it. So many times we settle for that entry level position just to kind of, oh, we're good. We have all the minimum requirements for that, but then there's another higher paying job or something like that you can go for. And it's like, well, maybe you don't have the skills right now, but maybe that employer could see something in you where, they might be willing to train it and do X, Y, Z. Or maybe, a lot of those freaking job applications are total bullshit anyway. You have to have this, and this. It's like they didn't never use it. It's like some HR person that never did the job before found something on, Indeed and copied and pasted. It's like we don't even use Python programming, but that's the requirements. Like they have no idea.
And it all comes back to that's the whole point of this episode is hopefully anybody watching this just to encourage you to take action. The more it's an input output equation. It all is. Sports is an input output equation. Getting a good job is an input output equation. Finding, success in your real estate, is an input. It's an input output equation. If you have enough input, you're going to eventually get a certain output. And once you figure out that ratio, it's just a numbers game. And of course, as you do more of it, it will take less input to get the same output.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Any task that you want, break it down into tasks, small individual chunk size tasks, all the way up until your ultimate goal. And then what do you have to do? The next actionable step. If that's step one, do step one. Don't do anything until step one's done. Then do two. Right. And then you can break it down. It's like, okay. And then as you go, you're going to get that momentum of, hey, I did that. Hey, I did that. Hey, I did that. And you're going to start having that confidence that you can do it. And then by the time you realize it, if you just don't look at the 15th step, but you look at 3, and then you look at 4, and then you look at 5, and then you look at 6, and you focus on just that actionable step, you're going to be at 15 before you know it, and you're going to fucking blow your goals away because you sat there and you just took that next step to make it happen.
Let's get literal, and I can't wait for this because you don't know about this. Let's get literal.
Uh-oh.
So I miss my wife being an agent because she was one of the best, but she's a high performer. She definitely chooses to make sure our girls are having a great life, and I'm very grateful for that, and that's a lot of where it's at. But recently she has dabbled in Etsy and selling on an Etsy store. Just, something she could do. She gets her artistic, thing going. And anyway, so here's the point. We looked back and, she, making just not much money, a couple $100 there, not much. But she, wanted to make more per month out of this thing. So I came in, I don't know anything about this stuff for once, by the way. Like I don't know anything about Etsy. I don't know anything about how she's doing this. I don't know nothing, but I know the principles. I know the input output equation, right? And this is really cool because this is really cool. So before though, let me set the stage. Not many people cross 100 sales, I guess, on Etsy. Just like not many people make it to the 20th episode on podcasts. Not many people. Same as principle. It's principle. So Jason, I don't know if you remember, but about a month ago in Dallas, I told you not many people cross 100, and she's about 80 or 90. Do you remember that? I'm curious.
Yeah, I remember this conversation.
Okay.
Is she still under 100? Oh, man.
No, I'll get you. I'll get you. Hang on. So she was about a month ago, it was about 80 or so. And about a month prior to that, we did the input output equation. And I looked at her conversion rate. So I don't remember the numbers, but let's just say she had 60 products that were available for purchase for a store. And she had a 6% conversion ratio on those products. So you just need more content. If you have more, if you had 500 pieces of content, you would make this much per month. And we did the math, and I'm like, at this rate, if you just have 1,000 pieces per content, you'll blow away your couple grand a month you want to make. Like, and I just did the math, right? Input output. But at the end, forget the math. Like, more. You just need more because you're converting. You want to expand the numbers. Okay, just add more content, add more options for people, opportunities, conversations, same shit. Just do that, right? So I told her, I said, make a goal, get to 1,000, get to 1,000. And really, she just want to make about $2,000 per month. So I said, get to 1,000 pieces of content. So she went on it. And that's where the sales started kicking up. That's where she was approaching the 100, right? She made 1,500 in a month, 300 sales almost, I think, roughly. I know it's over 2 or 250. We were back at 80 then, man. Like,
Yeah, that's
her
awesome.
conversion rate's going better. It's an input output equation. It's the same thing.
Yep. Like our buddy Matt Durbin said, sales is just a numbers game. Everything else is just drama. It's sales and everything is just a numbers game. We complicate things and think that we need to do this, or we have to learn this, or I have to memorize this script, or I need to do that. Just get after
it. And watch this. Jason, are you guilty of this?
Oh, I'm 100% way guilty of it for sure. Multiple areas of my life where, I know I should be doing physical fitness is one I could just name off the top of my head, right? Hate doing push-ups and sit-ups and pull-ups, right? I have the avoidance stuff. Anytime it's like, okay, well, I'll do it when I get home later, or I'll do it. If I don't get up and just fucking bust it out and get it done, it's not happening for that day. So I know I have that avoidance thing, and I know how many I should be doing, and I know how many times a week I should, and it'll sit with me all day long, knowing that I postponed it and I should be doing it. And yeah, I'm a big loser.
We try to outsmart the work. And Jason, that's why I brought this up, because that's why you bought me the shirt that says "Head down, no shiny objects," because I call you with all the outsmarting the work stuff all the time. I'm guilty too. That's what I think it's good. But everybody listening, we're right along the ride here. We're just sharing the stuff that we think you need to be reminded of, because we wish we were reminded of those things. That's why we feel the need to
remind ourselves of it too. Like you said, it's not. How many times do we just sit and look at the big goal? Oh, I want oceanfront house. It's like, okay, well, what do you need to do daily to make that happen? Or if you want a vacation, or whatever that goal is. Say you want, instead of renting, you want to buy your first house. What's that look like? Okay, I got to save up a deposit. All right, I got to get my credit better. Well, how do I know what my credit is? Maybe I need to get a pre-approval just to kind of see if I would be approved and for how much. And then take a look at houses that are in that price range. Is this what I want? No, then I got to increase either my income or my savings to get the house that I want, right? And break it down into manageable things. Now I got to go start seeing houses. All right, how do offers work? How does this work? How does inspections work? All that kind of stuff. What's my cost going to be? Closing cost, all that kind of stuff. Just break it down into a manageable, bite-sized chunk, and you can do anything.
So here we go. So you're ready. You're ready to not. That's some weird noise that just happened out of my headphones. Okay, so you're ready to.
My contract.
It was something. You're ready to not sit on the sidelines. All right, I'm going to give you the action plan. I'm literally just forming it as I go.
Oh, man.
No, this is going to be good. So first, you need to think negatively. Think about all the things that you would do to not have the outcome you're desiring.
Yeah.
And then do the opposite of those things. So that's step one. Okay.
For my push-ups and sit-ups and pull-ups, it's like, should I just sit and play Xbox and like eat Doritos all day?
Exactly, right? Like I know, like, if you don't want to get in shape, well, I'm going to not work out. I'm going to eat the brownies. I'm going to play video games. And then what do you do? Don't do those things. Do the opposite of those things.
Yeah.
Cool. So you do that. The second step is take action on the input-output equation. So, you get the negative, so you have the roadmap. So think negatively because it's easier. Battle downhill, right? and then do the opposite of what you came up with, just like we just showed you. And then take action on the input output equation. All right. So if you found out, okay, I would not work out to get healthy. Okay. So I'm going to work out, and I'm going to work out, 3 times a week, input output equation, like set it, whatever you decide it to be, but find the input that you're going to put in and take action towards it. Okay. And then that comes to the third level. And that's what I want. I'll show you where I got to this, is accountability. We talk about it a lot, but I wanted to bring up how there's a lot of ways to have accountability. Of course, you can have an accountability partner, your wife or your spouse or a friend or stuff like that. But here's another one that's a simple hack, and you might not be ready for this, but in my opinion, it's one of the easiest ways. Post it out there.
Yeah.
You know how much it sucks for me that I've said the things.
Yeah.
I've said things that I'm going to do out here in the social world, and you know how much it lights a fire under my ass. Like, because there's times where I don't want to do the thing that I said I was going to do, on a podcast or on a thing or whatever. Ooh, you want some? Because it's easy. Yeah. You just got to post it. You don't have to check in each week. And if your word is your bond, if you're someone like that, like I am, it's going to haunt you.
Yeah, stick with you, right? That's so good.
And then the last thing.
Well, wait, real quick before the last thing, I want to touch on the accountability thing, because this is hitting home for me right now. So Ryan's my accountability partner, right? We kind of put a pause to it for some of the summer months. We were doing it for a year hard. He had some stuff going on, where, he was kind of getting busy, and I'm like, hey, look, let's just take a break on it, and then we'll come back to it. I'll tell you what, not having that weekly accountability has set me back. One of my things was to read at least 3 times a week, and I see myself postponing the reading stuff, which I know is important, to do XYZ other activity. Another thing that I see is like just simple tasks that I hate doing, like, updating all my tax stuff on QuickBooks or whatever. I had it weekly, so I didn't have it grown, and I haven't done it since we stopped because it wasn't on my to-do list, and I didn't have somebody holding me accountable to get that done. So definitely get with somebody. It's definitely going to help you move that needle. Do not deny the power of having an accountability partner.
And putting yourself in a room where there's implied accountability, that's another, so there's public declaration, there's support friend or person, support person, there's hiring a coach, and there's putting yourself around or even just consuming their content of people who have an implied accountability. Like, they only expect to deal with other people who are high performers or are in shape or whatever. If you put yourself around a group of people that expect a certain standard, you're probably going to start to meet that standard, especially if it's what you consume a lot of, whether directly or indirectly.
So good.
So the negative thinking, so that you can find out what not to do, so you find out what to do. The action on the input-output equation, taking the action, don't sit on the sidelines once you've figured out what to do. The accountability.
Break it down into manageable bite-sized chunks.
The accountability to do those things, whether implied, public declaration, support person or coach, or I think that was most of them. And the last is just to inspect what you expect in 2 ways. One, yes, that's kind of accountability, and the way to inspect it, you make sure you did the thing, but also inspect the ratio that you first thought, was there. Okay, it's 3 days, so you've done this for 3 months. You've worked out 3 days a week. Was that enough? Do you need 4? Was that plenty? Are you good? Maybe because you're running a lot, and maybe you're up all day on your feet, so you've got a lot of cardio going in another way. So maybe that's plenty. Inspect what you expected to happen, and inspect the input-output equation. So go back and inspect that, and you tweak. And the more and more I do these things, I'm not perfect, but the more and more I do these things, I realize how simple this game is, and we all make it so hard. Don't know why, but we all do. We're not Mars here. This isn't that hard, but it is.
And like you said, I think you kind of glossed over, but super important, tracking. You know, what gets measured gets managed, right? So, just kind of tracking your daily habits. Okay, if you are looking to become a real estate agent, like Chad said, break it down into, the negative. What don't you have to do if you don't want to do that, right? So you know exactly what steps to take. Take down each step, make it bite-sized chunks, right? And start on piece one and keep moving through each piece. Declare it publicly, right? Hey, I'm going to do ABC, so you have that public accountability. Then get yourself somebody, a friend, family member, spouse, whatever, to kind of hold you accountable to doing what you say you're going to do. And then measure your progress. Hey, did I do, it's a 75-hour course in Pennsylvania or whatever, did I do 2 hours a day for the first 5 days? Now you're almost, 10th of the way there, or whatever the math is on that. Suck at math, but, and then kind of see where your progress is. And when you can see why do you think there's a progress bar over when you're taking classes? So you don't get discouraged and you can see how far you've come, right? If you don't have it measurable and you don't see where you're at, you're never going to see where you came from and not think that you got anywhere when you are moving the needle.
I love, there's always things that you hear and see on posts that hit you. And one of the ones that really, really hit me this week was, when you're baking a cake, halfway through, the kitchen is a mess. It's a mess. But what comes out, out after you continue through and finish the other half, right, is that beautiful cake or whatever you're making, dinner or whatever. It's the same stuff. But like, it's going to be a mess getting through there. But you're making progress. And if you track, what's measurable becomes manageable 100%. Like, I had a problem eating, not like bad, but like I snacked and I just didn't count things. And I never really measured it. Here and there, we do this diet or we do this little bit of tracking for a month and,
keto, so, Atkins.
And you're not going to get excited about, oh, you need to track your food. Like, no, that's not, but I got enough pain to go, I want to be in shape. I want to be 50 and play with my kids. I want to feel good. I want to, I'm in Florida, we're at the beach a lot, not that it, it's all about looks, but it's, it's for, I want to feel good. I want to feel good in my own skin, so for me, I was like, okay, well, what would I not do? I wouldn't track food, which is, and I once I started doing it, it was so obvious all the eating habits that were the problem. It's like plain as day. And even when I went through phases now of where I've forgotten some days of tracking or holidays have come around since then, I have formed these habits because I have clarity around what was causing the problems in my diet and what wasn't because I tracked. So like, tracking isn't sexy. It's boring. It's spreadsheets. It's numbers. Like, it's nothing fun about tracking anything, whether it's food or your calls or whatever. But that's what helps gain you clarity to get to where you want to go. But you have to tie it to where you want to go. You have to tie it to the person you want to become.
Yep. No. Gold right there, man. Gold. Love it. Yeah. Well, I like that the meme that you see. You're not hungry. You're just bored.
And boredom is, yeah, it's a thing, man. I've felt that, and that, yeah. But then, when you get the hunger back, don't complain when you have something to eat.
Oof. Going deep on us, dropping nugs. Well, let's wrap it up with this. Break down what you want to do. You can be anything that you want to be in this world. There's enough information out there, enough resources at your disposal where you could do anything. Pick your goal and go for it. Break it down to the manageable steps and take those steps and just start at one. Don't look at the big, they call it like the BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goal. Just focus on something small and just move the needle forward a little bit at a time. And before you know it, you'll be there. You can do it. We got you.
100%. Don't sit on the sidelines. We got enough of those people. And if you're somebody that doesn't sit on the sidelines, a little plug for our group, bottom, SharkNation Live. Go there. It's a free group. Join our Facebook group. Subscribe to the podcast. Send us a message. If you found anything valuable, please let us know. We would love good and negative, positive and negative feedback, so we can make sure that, the mission here is to help others move the needle in their lives. Like, that's, we're just sharing our experiences to help you move
Yeah.
the needle in yours.
Yeah. If you find it helpful, like and subscribe. It shows us that out in the universe is that people care. Doesn't cost you anything. If you saw something that was valuable to you, share it. Give us some notes, feedback. We'll take all the negative criticism. We're not shy, for sure. I always tell people, my parents owned a small corner bar for 30 years. There's nothing that you can say that will make me blush.
Yep, that's it. Because we're committed to being better. So you would only help that. So thank you guys for tuning into another week. I'm privileged to do this. I'm hoping we can add some value, and we'll see you on the next one.
35 in the book.